Matthew chapter 10, 24 and 25 reads, "A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. It is enough for the disciple to be treated like his teacher and the servant his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more will they malign those of his household?" If they treated Jesus poorly, they will also treat his followers poorly. If they accuse and arrest the teacher, we shouldn't wonder at them arresting the students. Persecution will come. Why will it come? Jesus answers, "For my sake." In verses 16 through 18, the first instructions Jesus leaves for the future disciples going through the tribulation is to behold the mission and beware of men. During the mission, Jesus predicted that the mission would involve savage wolves and slapping whips. Followers of Jesus will be delivered before the pious and dragged before the political. When followers of Christ are delivered and dragged before the church and the country, they will stand as witnesses to both governments and Gentiles. In verse 19, Jesus instructed, when you are arrested, do not be anxious before your accusers. Jesus also gave instructions about their conduct while in the presence of their accusers. When followers of Jesus are condemned, Jesus' instructions to them is to be wise among the wolves, verse 16, and to witness when being whipped, verse 17. While it is distressing to know that your church and government will persecute you, it is all the more hurtful still to know that your family will participate in the persecution. As we will see in verses 21 and 22, the family will persecute you. Wow. When your church, your clan, and your country start to flog you for Christ's name's sake, it's time to flee. When you are beaten, thrashed, or whipped for wearing the name of Christ, it's time to escape. Bolt when you are beaten. In other words, run and run fast. When When you think of the fastest individual in the world, no doubt Usain Bolt comes to mind. So let's use his name here as a mnemonic device concerning persecution. Let's say when your church, your clan, and your country start to persecute you with beatings, you be sane about this and bolt. That is, run and run fast. Persecution will come. Why will persecution come? Jesus answers, for my name's sake. Christians today are persecuted for their beliefs in Jesus Christ. The persecution varies in occurrence and intensity. Although this text speaks to the future, Christians in this time can gain valuable insight on handling persecution. When we are on mission among wolves, be wise. When we are on trial before men and slapping whips, be a witness. Perhaps not with the same intensity, but in some measure, every follower of Christ will experience being delivered before the pious. Well-meaning church members may persecute your devout life or argue that you are not devout enough, thinking that they speak for God. Or perhaps, as in some countries today, devout Christians are being dragged before governments for their testimony of Jesus Christ. When these things happen, be wise and be a witness, but be willing to bolt when beaten. When the people to whom you witness are willing to be belligerent when rejecting the good news about Jesus Christ, text says that we are to shake the dust and move to another place to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. No doubt, persecution will come. Why will persecution come? Jesus answers, for my name's sake. These will prove to be difficult times, but with the predictions of persecution, Jesus also gave promises to those who endure. Note verse 22. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. That statement speaks of perseverance. And verse 23, before the Son of Man comes. That has direct reference to his second coming, or the arrival of the Son of Man, his parousia. Those who are persecuted can look forward to the promise of perseverance and the parousia. Perseverance defines God's ability to keep and preserve a Christian holy until he brings them into heaven. And parousia speaks to Christ's second coming. In his 1976 novel, Alex Haley tells the story of an African, Kunta Kinte, who fights to keep his name and identity. His enslaver brutally attempts to acclimate Kinte to his new torturous lifestyle by imposing on him a brand new name, Toby. The slave owner hoists Kinte by a rope and ties him to a stake and whips him, all the while forcing him to take his new name, Toby. Flesh torn, body mangled, Kinte fought to keep his identity. He was whipped because of his name. He was persecuted for his name. Persecution will come. Why will persecution come? Jesus answers, for his name. Maybe you are asking, what is in a name? Shakespeare's Juliet argues, a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. Perhaps Juliet is right about a rose, but this line of argument does not apply to a Christian. A Christian who denies the name of Christ and who does not live as Christ lived will not smell as sweet. We must hold fast to the name of Christ. In the past and even today, followers of Jesus have been and continue to be persecuted for their beliefs in Christ Jesus. In a more intense way, future followers will be tortured for Christ's name. But those who are persecuted in any age can look forward to the promise of perseverance and the parousia, Christ's second coming. Persecution will come, but God will help believers to persevere until his parousia. Come, Lord. Come, Lord, quickly, we say with the Apostle John. Live well, hope well.
Trouble will let the ways. There will be better days for